In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a floorboard effect on your cake board. So what you want to do is take some fondant or some sugar paste, and what I've done is I've dyed it in 2 different shades of brown. Now, I don't know how well you'll be able to see on the camera, but I haven't mixed it in very well, so it is a little bit streaky still. You can use different shades of brown as well for your floorboards. I tend to go for the caramel ivory one in the sugar flare colours. I find that's quite a good one for light coloured floorboards, but obviously change it according to the colours that you want. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to take a bit of each one, and I'm going to divide this one in half because it's quite big. I'm just going to put them next to each other like that, and I'm going to twist them. Now, you don't have to be neat when you're doing this, so twist or fold is absolutely fine. Knead them a little bit, but not too much, because you want to try and get the lines going across. You might find it easier on the board. Okay, so twist it a little bit, fold it over. Ooh, and that board's moving again. Now, depending on how strong you want your lines in your wood grain will depend on how much you do this. If you're wanting quite large floorboards, you want your grains to be quite big and obvious, so I wouldn't mix it too much. However, if you're going to have quite thin, smaller floorboards, you're going to want to do this a little bit more so that the lines become finer and closer together. Okay, I'll just twist that a little bit, like so. Okay, so you see it's not all in perfectly straight lines. Okay, so I'm going to roll that out a little bit into a bit of a sausage. Now, when I've done that, what I'm going to do is just cut it, and I'm going to push them next to each other like that for the start of my my cover for my board. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure it doesn't stick to the board. Now, I'm using corn flour this time because it's only going on my board rather than on my cake, so nobody's going to taste it. If you want to know how to make the little poof that I'm using, you'll be able to see that in one of my other videos. Okay, so when your work surface is floured, I'm just going to put that on, and we're just going to roll it out. And you're going to try and just roll in one direction, backwards and forwards, rather than going across, because it's going to widen the lines in your icing. Okay, so keep doing that a little bit. Now, I'm going to ice it on a round board. You can use round or square. Obviously, that's not wide enough at the moment. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit from the top and bottom, just making sure it's going to roughly fit. We will make it a little bit bigger. So with this bit I've just taken off, I'm going to re-roll it. Again, and I'm going to cut it into 2 sausage shapes, and I'm just going to add it to the edge of what we've already done, just to make it that little bit wider, and I'm just going to roll it in like that. Now, if you end up with gaps, just push it in a little bit, re-roll, just make sure it's not sticking to your board. So that's fine, it's not sticking. Oh, it is sticking a little bit. So just keep doing that. Now, if it's big enough, then you can put it on your board. If it's not, just cut a little bit more off again, as you were doing before. Re-roll, add it to the bit where it's not quite big enough, and just roll it in like that. Now, this is a bit thick at the moment for icing my board with, so I'm just going to roll it out a little bit thinner. And you can already see that because we've not mixed the colours together very well, it's created like a wood grain effect. Okay, so I'm just going to roll that till it's quite even all the way across. Just check that my board fits, which it does. So what I'm going to do is lift it up, turn it over, and I'm just going to, you can see the grains are on both sides, so to be honest you can use it either way up. I'm just going to take a little bit of water and paint it with a pastry brush on the back of my icing. Now, I'm not worrying about doing it to the ends, just to the bits that my board is going to cover. Okay, so I'm going to move my board in. Just move this out of the way a bit so you can see. And then I'm just going to flip it over and onto my board and make sure you rub out any air bubbles that are under there. Now, if you want to take a smoother and rub it on the surface just to make sure that you have got an even finish. Okay, and I'm just going to press gently around the edges so that I can see where the edge of my board is. Then taking a sharp knife, make sure it is clean along the blade. I'm just going to pick up my board and I'm just going to run it along the edge of my cake board. You'll see it's the same method that we've used for just icing a cake board in a normal way as well, with how we've put it on the board and how we're cutting around the edge. So just make sure your knife is clean and that you're not putting other bits of icing on as you go around. So keep cleaning it off on like the edge bit where it won't be seen. And you will need to make sure that you've got quite a sharp knife for doing this. Otherwise you'll find your icing will just tear and drag instead of cutting. Okay. Just do that all the way around. Just rub your fingers along the edge just to make sure you've not got any rough edges. Okay, and already just on its own it makes quite a nice effect on the board, so I'll just show you that. I don't know if it will come into focus or not on the camera. Okay, so when you've done that, what you're going to do is we're going to put lines in like floorboards. So it's up to you how thick you want your lines to be. Okay, so for this, I just use a plastic ruler because it's got a nice straight edge. You can draw the lines on with a tool or a knife if you prefer, but I like doing this because it will give me a straight line rather than me drawing it wonky. Okay, so you're going to put your first line in your board, do it along the length that your grain is running, don't do it the opposite way. Okay, and I'm just going to gently push in so that it leaves a bit of an imprint in my board, not too much that it cuts my icing in half. Okay, so then I'm going to decide how thick I want my floorboards to be. So I'm going to probably have mine about the thickness of my ruler. Now, if you want to make it accurate, you can measure out. So I put a little indentation in with my knife and then run the ruler along those guidelines that you've just put on and push it in like that to make a bit of an indentation. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see the indentations very well or not. I do sometimes just put the lines in without marking them out with a knife. So I'll just guess and press them in. So if you want to just guess them, that's absolutely fine. So from here I can just twist my ruler up and put the line in like that. So there's no space there for another one. Okay, so we've got some lines in for the floorboards. Like I say, you can make your floorboards narrower if you prefer, rather than wider like mine are. Okay, so for the lines that are going horizontally, we're not going to use the ruler, otherwise it's going to put them all in one line, and we don't want them in one line. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line with my tool across. Now, you might find it pushes your icing a little bit, so just pull it back in on either side like that. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to have a line on other floorboards the same length, but you're going to miss them out on either side. So I'm going to put the line on this one now. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on this side, putting it in like that, and just, if it does move your icing from the edge of your board, just push that back in a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go a bit further down on this one, so I'm going to draw my floorboard here, or the edge of my floorboard even, like that. So you see I've got a line in there. Again, I'm going to miss this one and miss this one. I'm going to go along to this one and draw that in there like that. Okay. Now, because it's not a very big board, my floorboards aren't really long enough to put loads of the horizontal lines in, so I'm just going to leave it like that because I think that's enough. If you have got a bigger board, you know, you can put more of these lines on that are going horizontally than what I have done. Okay, so next what we want to do is add some little holes that look like little screw holes where the floor is being fitted. You don't have to put these in, but I think it just gives it a nice effect. Now, because I only want them small, it took me a while to think of something that I could use that was the right size. So for this, I've just used the end of a Bic biro not one that's been chewed. Just make sure there is a hole in the end that is clear. And what I'm going to do is just gently press it into my board. Now I'm only going to do it in the corners where I've drawn a horizontal line. So on the horizontal line, in the corner, I'm just going to push a little hole like that. And I'm going to put one on the opposite side, just there. And again on this corner. Okay, so I'm going to repeat that on all the corners of the floorboards. And that one there. Yep, okay, so that's all of them. So you can see they've all now got the little holes in like that. Now, that's it, that's all you need to do. I would just finish the board off with a ribbon just to neaten it up. But that's your basic floorboard. So it's really nice and simple, really quick to do, but it looks really effective. Now, mine's quite matte. If you do want to give it a shine, you know, you can buy the glaze spray, which you can spray over, that's fine, and that just gives it a nice shiny finish. Okay, thank you for watching. If you do have any questions, just message me and let me know, or let me know anything else you would like to see me do. And please have a look at my other videos on my channel. Thanks.